Strangely enough, Dave Kaval, the president of the A's, and John Fisher, the owner of the A's, are on a relocation tour. The relocation tour is where to play in the interim period when their lease at Oakland Coliseum runs out, which is at the end of 24, and their new stadium in Vegas can't open until 28. Now, all the people out there who assume that I'm wrong and they're right, that the A's are moving to Vegas for sure, are pointing out a letter that came from Bally's, the news that came out that the Tropicana is being demolished, the A's are moving to Vegas. Horse hockey. The Tropicana being demolished has nothing to do with the A's moving to Vegas. The Tropicana was being demolished anyway. It is cheaper. It's like a tear down when you buy a house and you're like, should we renovate or get a new one? Like what the White Sox are doing. You get a new one. They need a new hotel on that property. They're not revamping the Trop. By the way, Trop, first hotel I ever went to in Vegas when I turned 21 with my grandfather and father. That's what we did as the Samson family. Turn 21, go to Vegas. Let's start the debauchery right now. Unfortunately, the type of debauchery had dice in it and cards, not garters. But either way, debauchery is debauchery. The Tropicana was being demolished either way. So when the employees of the Tropicana are written a letter by Bally's saying it's being demolished, the Oakland A's say, could you please just put in that letter just for us that we're doing this so we can do a stadium? So then the whole media, everyone will believe that we're really moving to Vegas. It is absolute horse hockey, available on davidsamsonpodcast.com. Dave Kaval doesn't even talk to anybody in Vegas anymore because he's overwhelmed to stay. John Fisher's being the mouthpiece, not doing great. We've gone through that. But we did get Kaval to do an interview. He did tell Ken Rosenthal the greatest line. Not the greatest line, but a pretty good line. Pretty good. We expect to have a competitive payroll that is going to enable us to have the resources necessary to field a competitive team year in and year out. Hold on, let me check my notes. Let me just quickly check what everybody says. Hold on, page 2, when you're trying to get stadium financing or when you fire under stadium financing, firing general manager, firing manager, or cutting payroll, trading player. Statement 2 reads, we are trying to field a competitive team year in and year out. All right, let me go back to my interview. We expect to have a competitive payroll that's going to enable us to have the resources necessary to field a competitive team year in and year out, Kaval said. We think that's necessary for the Vegas market. You're right. It's only necessary for the Vegas market. Not necessary in Oakland, not necessary in New York, not necessary in Boston. It's just Vegas. I think it would have been better to say, hey, that's what all teams aspire to do. But by the way, only 15 out of 30 teams finish above 500 generally, and only one team ends up winning the World Series. Of course, we all strive to win, but the smartest teams know when they can win and when they can't. What we want is the ability to build and then add when we're ready to win. To do that, we want to have a better chance at more revenue. To do that, we need people to pay more money. To do that, we need to get more money from people. Therefore, we need more opportunities and options, so we need a stadium. I always like the honest approach. It's better. How about just saying so? So, what does it all mean? Do I believe that they're going to raise payroll as they said they would? What he's claiming is that in this interim period, they want to raise payroll because they want to build to a crescendo so you try to win in your first year in the new stadium in 28. Tried it. Ended up signing free agents to add to a team that we thought could win from 2011. Signed a bunch of free agents. Had a terrible 2012. Overextended, traded them all away. The rest is history. Everybody always tries to do that. Here's the thing. New stadiums are not the panacea they used to be. New stadiums do not guarantee bumps of attendance the way they did when Cleveland or Pittsburgh or even San Francisco, when they opened new stadiums, they had their attendance turn around and they had periods of real sustained winning. Well, at least Cleveland did, and San Francisco. It turns out what markets really want now, new stadium or not, doesn't matter. They actually just want teams which are competitive. That there is the conundrum. The problem is there is no longer that need for the pre-new stadium opening runway where you build, 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 and then hit that crescendo, hit the end of the rebuild, and time it perfectly. What we've learned over the past 2 decades is that timing a rebuild is super hard. That's why teams always say, oh, we're ahead of plan. Oh, we're behind plan. My view has changed. Here's the plan. When your team's good, that's the plan. The Arizona Diamondbacks, they're not rebuilding anymore. They won. Their plan now is to add if they can. When you make the playoffs, you say, all right, that's it. The Marlins made the playoffs. Let's add. But then you get to say, wait a minute, I looked at the way the Marlins won. So many 1-run games. We're losing so much money. Let's not say this is our moment of winning, and let's take a few steps backwards. So do I think that they're going to build in this interim plan, which they don't even have an interim plan? I absolutely do not. Do I think they'll have a payroll of $170 million in 2028, first year in a new stadium? I absolutely do not. Do I think that 170 will be a competitive payroll in 2028? I absolutely do not. 170 will be well below the median in 2028. What is required of a team is a great farm system that produces a pipeline where you have young players overperforming their contracts, sprinkled in with really good veteran long-term contracts. That's the formula required if you're not in the top 3 in payroll. And even being in the top 3 of payroll, you could still end up like the Padres or Yankees or Mets from last year and not make the playoffs. The other reason why I don't believe they will be raising payroll as they head into the new stadium is we have still not seen word one about the financing of the ballpark, the operation of the ballpark, how all this is going to work with Bally's, meaning they have no projections. They have no idea what money is going to be required and when. They don't know at what rate they're going to borrow the money, so they don't know what their annual interest payments are. They have no way to put together a plan that enables them to spend money in this interim period. They've got to keep their powder dry. They've got to keep cash on hand and credit availability in order to put that into the new ballpark, not into interim payrolls. So do I believe they will raise payroll as they said they would in Ken Rosenthal's article? Well, as the media expert on the A's relocation, I say no chance toilet pants.